When Evelyn wakes up in a hospital bed, weak and confused, she expects to see her loving husband by her side. But instead, she finds an empty chair, a missing kidney, and a devastating truth. What follows is a relentless high-stakes game of revenge, deception, and ultimate justice. Before we dive into this story, let us know where you're watching from. And if you stand for justice, be sure to like and subscribe. Now let's dive in. A sharp, sterile light burned against Evelyn's eyelids. She tried to move, but her body felt like lead, her limbs weak, her head clouded with exhaustion. A dull, throbbing pain pulsed through her abdomen. She inhaled sharply, forcing her eyes open. The ceiling above her was a blank, lifeless white. The scent of antiseptic burned her nose. Where am I? Her mind fought through the haze, piecing together fragments of memory. She remembered Liam. She remembered the warmth of his voice, the way he had held her hand and whispered reassurances before the anesthesia had taken her under. "It's just a minor procedure, babe. I'll be here when you wake up." But now, he was gone. The room was empty, except for the steady beep, the heart monitor beside her. Panic coiled in her chest. She tried to sit up, but a sharp stabbing pain in her right side stopped her cold. Gasping, she reached down, fingers trembling as they grazed over something foreign. Wrong. A bandage, thick and sterile, covering a fresh wound on her lower right abdomen. Something was terribly wrong. The door swung open, and a nurse walked in, holding a clipboard. She barely glanced up as she scribbled something down. "Good, you're awake. The procedure was successful. You'll feel a little weak for a few days, but your body will adjust." Evelyn's throat was dry, her voice barely more than a whisper. "Procedure?" The nurse finally looked up, blinking in surprise. "Yes, your nephrectomy. Your husband signed off on everything." Nephrectomy. The word landed like a bullet in her brain. She didn't know what it meant, but her gut told her she should. What is a nephrectomy?" The nurse frowned. "Kidney removal, dear. But don't worry, you only need one to survive." The world lurched. Kidney removal. Her hands flew to her side, pressing against the bandage as if she could undo it, as if she could somehow put herself back together. Her skin turned ice cold, her breath hitched, coming in shallow gasps. Liam had... Her heart slammed against her chest. A wild, desperate no screamed inside her, but her mouth refused to form the words. Her shaking fingers fumbled for the IV stand beside her bed. She found her phone on the side table, snatched it up with trembling hands, and unlocked it. 24 missed calls from her boss, 17 unread messages from her best friend, 3 notifications from her bank, and nothing from Liam. Her stomach dropped. She tapped the bank notifications, her vision blurring as she read the words on the screen. $45,000 withdrawn, $12,800 withdrawn. Account balance, $23.47. The room spun. Her breath turned ragged, her throat tightening as reality crashed down on her like an avalanche. He took the money, he took her kidney, and he was gone. A sob crawled up her throat, but it never made it past her lips, swallowed instead by the sheer, paralyzing weight of shock. No, this couldn't be real. She scrolled to Liam's number, pressing the call button with shaking fingers. "Ring. Come on, come on, come on." The robotic voice punched through her eardrum like a death sentence. "The number you have dialed is no longer in service." Her grip tightened around the phone, her knuckles turning white, the betrayal slamming into her with the force of a wrecking ball. Her phone vibrated suddenly in her palm, a new message. She stared at the screen, hope flaring for a fraction of a second. Maybe it was him. Maybe this was all some insane misunderstanding. Then she saw the name. Vanessa Sinclair, Liam's friend. Her thumb hesitated, her entire body screaming not to open it, but her heart pounded faster and faster, forcing her to look. She clicked. A picture loaded. It was blurry, taken at an airport. A man and a woman locked in an embrace. Liam and Vanessa. She was clinging to him, her arms draped around his neck, his lips pressed against hers. A caption followed. "Hope you're on your way, babe. Can't wait to start our new life together." Evelyn's entire world collapsed. Her grip on the phone loosened. It slipped from her fingers, clattering to the hospital floor. This wasn't just theft. This wasn't just betrayal. Liam Carter had carved a piece of her out of her body, stolen everything she had, and left her for another woman. And in that moment, through the haze of agony, heartbreak, and raw disbelief, a new emotion slithered into her chest. It wasn't sadness. It wasn't grief. It was rage, and it burned. Their very first encounter came to her mind. The rain drizzled softly against the city streets. The air smelled of damp pavement and fresh coffee, a scent Evelyn had always found oddly comforting. She tugged her coat tighter around her body as she stepped into the small bookstore on the corner of Lexington and 7th, her favorite place in the entire city. The wooden shelves stood tall, their spines heavy with forgotten stories, and the warm glow of old lamps cast golden halos over stacks of books that hadn't been touched in years. A single book caught her eye. a leather-bound edition with gold-embossed lettering, its spine cracked from years of love. She reached for it, anticipation curling in her chest, but just as her fingers brushed the cover, another hand touched hers, warm, firm. Evelyn startled slightly, withdrawing her hand as she turned her head, only to meet mischievous hazel eyes and a slow, knowing smile. "Looks like we have the same taste," the stranger mused, tilting his head as he studied her. He was tall, effortlessly good-looking in that disheveled, I-don't-try-too-hard kind of way. Tousled dark hair, sharp cheekbones, and the kind of confidence that wasn't loud, but lingered beneath his skin like a quiet storm. Evelyn arched a brow, the corner of her mouth twitching. "Or maybe I just got here first." The man chuckled, running a hand through his hair. "Now that's debatable. Maybe fate wanted us to fight over it." She let out a small laugh, crossing her arms. "You think fate orchestrated a bookstore battle between two strangers over a second-hand novel?" "Hey, stranger things have happened," he shot back easily, leaning against the shelf. "But let's settle this like civilized people. What do you say we flip a coin for it?" Evelyn narrowed her eyes, amused. "You carry a coin in this economy?" He smirked. "Touché. All right, how about a trade? I let you have the book, and in return, you let me buy you a coffee." She hesitated. The rational part of her knew better than to say yes to strange men with smooth lines and even smoother smiles. But there was something about him, something unforced, like he wasn't just throwing out a pickup line, but genuinely enjoying the exchange. She pretended to consider. "Throw in a slice of cheesecake and I'll think about it." He grinned, extending his hand. "Deal. I'm Liam, by the way." She took his hand, shaking it lightly. "Evelyn." "Evelyn," he repeated as if trying it on his tongue. "Well, Evelyn, I hope you like your coffee strong because I plan on making sure I win you over with caffeine and sugar." She laughed, shaking her head. "You're awfully confident for someone who just bribed me for my time." "Confidence is key," he said with a wink, already turning towards the door. "Now let's go, before you change your mind." And just like that, she didn't. The coffee shop was small, intimate, tucked between a flower shop and a vintage clothing boutique. They found a corner table, settling into a comfortable rhythm as Liam placed their order. 2 Americanos and a slice of cheesecake big enough for 2. "So," Evelyn started, stirring her coffee. "Tell me, Liam, what's your deal? Do you make a habit of stealing books and bribing women with dessert?" Liam smirked, leaning forward. "Only the pretty ones." She rolled her eyes, but she couldn't deny the small thrill that ran down her spine. "Seriously though, what do you do?" His expression shifted. You know, the usual. Chase dreams, break even, repeat. I do freelance consulting, marketing mostly, but it's not exactly paying the bills right now." Evelyn took a slow sip of her coffee, watching him. "That why you were in a bookstore at 10 p.m., looking for the meaning of life in old pages?" Liam chuckled, resting his chin on his hand. "Something like that. And what about you, Evelyn? What's your story?" She sighed, tracing patterns on the table with her fingertip. "Nothing as poetic, I'm afraid. I work in publishing, mostly editing manuscripts. Spent my whole life buried in books, really." His brows lifted. "That explains a lot." "Oh?" She quirked a brow. "What exactly does it explain?" "The way you talk. You pick your words carefully like they're scenes in a novel." She laughed. "And you? Let me guess. You talk like a man who's always looking for the next adventure." Liam's grin faltered for just a second, just enough to make her wonder. "Something like that," he murmured. For a brief moment there was silence. Not awkward, but loaded, like two people trying to read between the lines. Then Liam leaned back, the mischief returning to his eyes. "So tell me, what's your wildest dream?" Evelyn blinked. "My wildest dream?" "Yeah," he said, slicing off a piece of cheesecake and pushing the plate toward her. "If money wasn't an issue, if nothing held you back, what would you do?" She exhaled, staring at the coffee swirling in her cup. "I'd travel, see the world, find a little bookstore in Paris, sip wine by the Seine, get lost in places where no one knows my name." Liam studied her for a moment. "Why don't you?" "Because life isn't that simple." "Then let's make a deal." Evelyn raised an eyebrow. "Another one?" He smirked. "You keep the book from earlier, and one day, just one day, we go on an adventure together. Paris, Greece, anywhere." She laughed. "Oh? And what's the catch?" "No catch," he said smoothly, lifting his coffee. "Just a promise." And Evelyn believed him. Evelyn had always been cautious when it came to love, always second-guessing, always waiting for the other shoe to drop. But with Liam, it felt different. It felt like she had met someone who understood her without her having to explain herself. Their days were filled with lazy Sunday mornings, tangled up in bed sheets and soft laughter. Their nights were spent walking the city, hand in hand, sharing their dreams like secrets between lovers. As weeks passed, reality began creeping in. Liam had a marketing business that never seemed to take off. He had big ideas, big dreams, but money was always an issue. "This city is brutal," he muttered, tossing a pile of unpaid bills onto the counter. "It doesn't matter how smart you are. If you don't have connections, you're screwed." Evelyn reached for his hand. Hey, you're not screwed. You're talented, Liam. Something will come through. He sighed, rubbing his temples. I don't know, Evie. Maybe I'm just not meant for this life. Maybe I'm meant for something bigger. As their relationship deepened, so did Liam's influence over her life. You don't have to worry about that, babe, he'd say when she tried to discuss rent or bills. Let me handle it. I don't like that guy, he murmured once when she mentioned a male coworker. I don't trust him. You work too much, he told her one night, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. You should let me take care of you. At first, she saw it as love. She told herself it was sweet, that he was just protective, caring. She didn't realize it was control. Not yet. Liam never outright asked for money, but somehow Evelyn always ended up giving it, paying for their dates, covering groceries, lending him a little here and there. Then it became bigger. His rent was due. His business deal had fallen through. His car broke down. And every time Evelyn told herself it was okay, because she loved him, because one day he'd pay her back. You're my lucky charm, Liam told her once, kissing her forehead after she covered another one of his expenses. I don't know what I'd do without you. She melted. She didn't realize those words were another chain tightening around her neck. One night, after a particularly bad day, Liam sat on their tiny balcony, staring out at the city. I hate this place, he murmured. Evelyn looked up from her book. What? This city? This life? Always chasing? Always struggling? It's exhausting, Evie. Haven't you ever wanted to just leave? She hesitated. What do you mean? Just pack a bag. Start over. Somewhere beautiful. Somewhere no one knows us. Her heart twisted. She had dreamed of Paris, of Greece, of running away from responsibility, from deadlines, from expectations, but they were just that, dreams. Liam, she said gently, that's not how life works. His jaw tightened, frustration flashing in his eyes. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe we should stop following the damn rules. There's this girl I follow on Instagram, Liam said, scrolling through his phone. Vanessa Sinclair. She's insane. Traveling every week, staying in the most luxurious places. It's like she's living in another world. Evelyn glanced at him. And nothing, he shrugged. Just saying. It's crazy how different life can be depending on where you start. Evelyn rolled her eyes, playfully nudging him. Don't tell me you're crushing on some influencer. Liam laughed. Please, she's way out of my league. Despite the money problems, the red flags, the small manipulations, Evelyn still believed in him. Because he made her feel special. Because he kissed her forehead every morning. Because he whispered, I love you, when he thought she was asleep. Because love made fools of them all. And by the time she realized it, by the time she saw the cracks in the foundation, it was too late. A slight dizziness in the mornings, a headache here and there. Nothing Evelyn couldn't brush off as exhaustion from work, stress, or maybe just not getting enough sleep. Babe, Liam said one evening, watching her as she sat curled up on the couch, rubbing her temples. Are you okay? She let out a small laugh, waving him off. Yeah, just tired. Long day. He tilted his head, studying her for a little too long before reaching out and brushing his fingers against her cheek. His touch was warm, gentle, but assessing. You look pale, he murmured. She rolled her eyes. I always look pale. No, I mean it, he pressed, his voice soft but insistent. Have you been eating properly? Evelyn sighed, leaning back into the couch cushions. Liam, I'm fine. Days passed, then weeks, and slowly, she actually started feeling worse. At first, it was barely noticeable, a little more tired than usual, a little more sluggish. Maybe she wasn't drinking enough water. Maybe she needed more sleep. But then, the fatigue became heavier, the headaches sharper. Some mornings, she woke up feeling like her limbs were made of lead. She'd stand in the shower, blinking against the steam, trying to shake off the exhaustion clinging to her like a second skin. And Liam? Liam noticed everything. Evie, I swear you're getting thinner, he said one evening, watching her push her food around on her plate. You barely eat anymore. She frowned, glancing at her half-finished dinner. I eat. Not enough, he countered. Maybe that's why you're always tired. Maybe you're, I don't know, lacking something. Vitamins or iron or whatever. You're not a doctor, babe. No, but I care about you, he said, reaching across the table to take her hand in his. And I don't like seeing you like this. There was something so sincere in his eyes, something that made her feel safe, cared for. I'll be fine, Liam, she promised. I just need rest. But rest didn't help. The next week, she nearly collapsed at work. She had been sitting at her desk, editing a manuscript, when the words on the screen started blurring together. A wave of dizziness washed over her, her vision tunneling for a moment before she shook her head, trying to clear it. Her coworker Julia glanced over. Eve, you okay? Evelyn forced a smile. Yeah, just a little lightheaded. Julia frowned. You've been looking kind of off lately. Have you seen a doctor? Evelyn opened her mouth to respond. You look pale. Maybe you're not eating enough. You barely have any energy anymore. Liam's voice echoed in her head, and suddenly a chill crawled down her spine. Was he right? Was there really something wrong with her? That night, as she lay curled against Liam's chest, he ran his fingers through her hair. "Evie," he murmured, voice laced with concern. "Please, let me take you to a doctor." She sighed, burrowing deeper into his warmth. "Liam, I don't need—" "You almost passed out today, didn't you?" She stiffened. Slowly, she lifted her head to meet his gaze. "How do you know that?" He hesitated for half a second too long. Then he sighed. "Julia messaged me. She was worried about you." Evelyn exhaled, suddenly exhausted. "It wasn't that serious." "It is to me," he said softly, cupping her face. "Evie, I love you. I can't stand watching you get worse every day." Her chest tightened. He was right. She had been feeling worse. And maybe it was nothing. Maybe it was just stress. But what if it wasn't? She swallowed hard. "Fine. I'll see a doctor." Liam smiled, pressing a kiss to her forehead. "Good," he whispered. The next day, Liam made the appointment. "Don't worry about it," he said, squeezing her hand. "I have a friend. He's a great doctor. He'll take care of you." His friend. She should have questioned that, but she didn't, because why would she? She trusted him. Dr. Carson's office was in a quiet part of town. Something about the place felt off. Maybe it was the fact that it was empty when they arrived. Maybe it was how Dr. Carson barely glanced at her test results before delivering his diagnosis. "Your kidneys are showing signs of strain," he said, steepling his fingers as he studied her. "It's not critical yet, but we should take precautions before it worsens." Evelyn's stomach twisted. "Strain?" she echoed. "What does that mean?" Dr. Carson sighed. "It means we caught it early, but if we don't act now, it could lead to complications." Liam squeezed her hand. She turned to look at him, and his face was pale, his jaw tight. "I knew something was wrong," he murmured. "I knew it." Evelyn swallowed hard. "But I don't feel any pain. I mean, I've been tired, but—" Dr. Carson nodded. "That's how it starts. Fatigue, dizziness. The symptoms creep up slowly." She glanced at Liam again. His eyes were glossy, like he was trying to hold back tears. "Baby," he whispered, "we have to do something." Her throat tightened. "What do I need to do?" she asked quietly. Dr. Carson exhaled, leaning forward. "There's a minor procedure we can do to prevent further issues. It's nothing serious, just a simple adjustment to ensure your kidneys keep functioning properly. No invasive surgery, no major risks." Evelyn hesitated. Something about this felt wrong. But then Liam pressed a soft kiss to her knuckles. "I don't want to lose you," he murmured. "Please, Evie, let's just fix this before it gets worse." She looked at him. Her Liam, the man who had been by her side through everything, the man who loved her. And in that moment, she let go of her doubts. She nodded. "Okay." Liam let out a shaky breath, his grip tightening around hers. "You're doing the right thing," he whispered. And behind his tear-filled eyes, behind his soft reassurances, Liam Carter was smiling, because Evelyn had just signed away a piece of herself, and she didn't even know it. The night before the surgery, Evelyn couldn't sleep. She lay curled on her side, staring at the faint glow of the city lights filtering through the curtains. The steady rhythm of Liam's breathing filled the space beside her, his body warm against hers. She should have felt safe. She wanted to feel safe, but something inside her wouldn't settle. A quiet, nagging unease had been growing in her chest for days, a whisper she kept trying to silence. She had done the tests. She had heard the doctor's words. Her kidneys were failing. She needed this procedure. But still, why did she feel like she was about to step off a ledge? She turned slightly, her voice barely above a whisper. "Liam?" He stirred beside her, his arm tightening around her waist. She hesitated, pressing her cheek against his chest. "I'm scared." Liam let out a soft sigh, his fingers trailing lazily over her arm. "Baby, there's nothing to be scared of. It's just a small procedure. You'll be in and out before you know it." "But what if something goes wrong?" she whispered. "What if—" "Shh." He kissed the top of her head, his voice gentle, reassuring. "I'd never let anything happen to you." Evelyn squeezed her eyes shut, willing herself to believe him. She had no idea that this was the last night she would ever feel that way. Evelyn drifted off eventually, lulled by Liam's steady breathing. She didn't notice when he slipped out of bed, didn't hear the soft click of the bedroom door as he stepped into the hallway, didn't see the sick satisfaction curling at the corners of his mouth as he pulled out his phone. "Liam, I'm coming over." Vanessa's reply was instant. "Finally. Thought you got cold feet." Liam smirked as he grabbed his jacket. There was no turning back now. Vanessa's apartment was nothing like Evelyn's. Where Evelyn surrounded herself with soft colors, well-worn books, and warm candlelight, Vanessa's space was sleek, modern, and untouchable. All black leather and glass, not a thing out of place. She was lounging on the couch when he arrived, wine glass in hand, legs draped lazily over the armrest. Liam let out a low whistle as he closed the door behind him. "Living large, huh?" She smirked, tilting her glass toward him. This is nothing compared to what's coming." His heart pounded at her words, because he could see it now, the life he had always wanted. A life without struggling, without waking up every day feeling like he was running in place, while everyone else sped past him. Vanessa sat up, patting the space beside her. So, everything set? Liam exhaled, running a hand through his hair. Yeah, she has no clue. Thinks it's just a routine procedure. Vanessa's lips curled. Poor thing. Must be nice to be that trusting. Liam hesitated. It was barely there. A flicker of something. Guilt. But then he thought about the money. The life waiting for him after this. The way Vanessa's eyes promised him everything Evelyn never could. So he shrugged it off, dropping onto the couch beside her. Trust makes people stupid. Vanessa clinked her glass against his. And that, darling, is why we'll always be smarter than them. The next day would change everything. Liam cried when they arrived at the hospital. Not real tears, of course, just enough emotion to make it convincing. You're gonna be okay, I swear. She smiled sleepily, reaching up to cup his face. I love you, Liam. He swallowed, forcing himself to look at her. Really look at her. Her eyes, full of trust. Her hands, soft against his skin. Her lips, whispering words, meant only for him. For a split second, it almost broke him. Almost. Then the doctor walked in, clipboard in hand. All right, we're ready for you, Miss Carter. Liam sat back, wiping at his eyes. I'll be right here when you wake up, okay? Evelyn nodded, squeezing his hand one last time, and then she was gone. Liam exhaled slowly, watching as the nurse wheeled her away. As soon as the door shut behind them, he pulled out his phone. It's done. We're getting paid today. Vanessa, about time. Hope you didn't get too attached. Liam stared at the screen for a long moment. Then smirking, he slipped his phone back into his pocket. He had won, and Evelyn had no idea she had just lost everything. Darkness, a deep, endless void. Evelyn drifted in it, weightless, untethered. Voices swirled around her, muffled, distant, slipping through her fingers like sand. Something wasn't right. She tried to move, but her body was heavy, her limbs filled with lead. Then, pain. A dull, gnawing ache in her side, spreading through her ribs, curling into her spine. She sucked in a breath, but even that hurt. Her eyelids felt like they had been glued shut, but she forced them open, blinking against the harsh fluorescent light. White. Everything was white. The walls, the bedsheets, the machines blinking beside her, a hospital. Her heart pounded, a sharp spike of fear cutting through the fog in her mind. Why was she here? Then, like a knife to the gut, the memories came flooding back. Liam, the surgery, his hands in hers, his whispered reassurances. I'll be right here when you wake up, okay? She turned her head instinctively, expecting to see him by her bedside, but the chair beside her was empty. The room was silent. A cold, twisting dread curled in her stomach. Where was he? A soft shuffle of footsteps. A nurse appeared in the doorway, clipboard in hand, her expression unreadable. You're awake, she said, offering a tight smile. Evelyn tried to push herself up, but pain ripped through her abdomen, stealing her breath. The nurse hurried over. Easy, don't strain yourself. The surgery went smoothly, but your body still needs time to recover. Evelyn swallowed hard, her throat raw. Something felt wrong. Slowly, she lifted a shaking hand and placed it on her side, feeling the thick bandages pressing against her skin. Her stomach churned. The surgery, the procedure Liam promised, was minor, but this didn't feel minor. Her pulse quickened, panic clawing at her chest. She turned to the nurse, voice hoarse. What exactly did they do to me? The nurse hesitated. The nephrectomy was successful. You should make a full recovery. Evelyn blinked. The word rang in her head like an alarm. Nephrectomy. Her fingers curled against the sheets. What does that mean? The nurse frowned. You do understand the procedure you underwent, right? Something inside Evelyn snapped. Her voice came out sharper this time, more urgent. Tell me, what did they do to me? The nurse hesitated again, then sighed. Your kidney was removed. Silence. A dead, suffocating silence. Evelyn's breath hitched. Her stomach twisted into 1,000 knots. Her fingers digging into the mattress like she could hold on to reality, hold on to sanity, hold on to something, anything. My kidney? She whispered. The nurse's face softened. Yes. Your husband signed the authorization papers. The world stopped. The heart monitor beside her beeped faster, faster, faster. Liam signed the papers. A sharp, brutal shatter echoed inside her chest. No. Her vision blurred, her breathing ragged. This wasn't real. This wasn't happening. Liam wouldn't do this. Liam said he'd be right here when she woke up. Her trembling hands reached for her phone, sitting on the bedside table. Her fingers barely worked, her body weak, but she unlocked it with shaking hands. She needed to call him. He would explain. He would fix this. She froze. Bank notifications. Her stomach plummeted as her eyes scanned the screen. $45,000 withdrawn. $12,800 withdrawn. $6,500 withdrawn. Her entire savings gone. The world tilted again, the air vanishing from her lungs. Her shaking fingers moved on their own, dialing Liam's number. Ring. Come on, pick up. Ring. Please, Liam, please tell me this is a mistake. Ring. The number you have dialed is no longer in service. Her hands went cold, her vision tunneling. Her fingers trembled violently as she scrolled through her messages. Nothing from Liam, nothing, not a single word. Her entire body felt like it was caving in on itself. Then, a new notification popped up, a message, but not from Liam, from Vanessa Sinclair. Evelyn's stomach turned ice cold. Her thumb hovered over the notification, her entire body shaking as she clicked on it. A photo loaded, blurry, taken at an airport. A man and a woman, locked in an embrace. Vanessa's arms wrapped around his neck, Liam's lips pressed against hers. The caption below it was a dagger, straight to the heart. Hope you're on your way, babe. Can't wait to start our new life together. Evelyn's blood ran cold. The screen blurred as hot, uncontrollable tears spilled down her cheeks. Her mind refused to accept it, refused to believe that the man she loved, the man she had given everything to, had just sold her, stole from her, left her for someone else. Her breath came in short, painful gasps, her chest constricted. The betrayal was too big, too deep, too complete. She pressed her palms against her face, her entire body racked with grief, with shock, with a pain so raw it felt like it was tearing her apart from the inside. Liam had taken everything, and he was never coming back. She didn't know how long she lay there, curled up on the hospital bed, shaking, crying, breaking. But somewhere, deep beneath the crushing weight of her sorrow, something shifted. The grief didn't disappear, the pain didn't ease, but a new emotion began to take root. A flicker of something dark, a heat that burned beneath the devastation. Rage. And as the first flames of fury took hold in her chest, Evelyn lifted her head, eyes burning, teeth clenched, hands curling into fists. Evelyn stumbled through the front door of their apartment, her pulse roaring in her ears. Her body was still weak from the surgery, every movement sending sharp pangs of pain through her side. But she didn't care. She had to see it for herself, had to prove that this wasn't real, that Liam hadn't truly done this, that there was still some piece of him here, some piece of the life they built together, some piece of her. But the moment she stepped inside, she knew. The air was hollow. Gone was the scent of his cologne lingering in the hallway. Gone were his shoes by the door, the jacket he always tossed on the couch, the coffee mug he never remembered to put in the sink. The apartment wasn't just empty, it had been erased. Her eyes darted around the room, taking in the void that Liam had left behind. The drawers, empty. The closet, half of it missing. His favorite watch, the one he never left home without, gone. The betrayal sunk its claws deeper. He had planned this. Not overnight, not in a moment of desperation. This wasn't some impulsive act. Liam had been planning to leave her for months, and she, the fool, the idiot, the trusting wife, had never seen it coming. A choked, broken laugh slipped from her lips. He didn't just take her kidney. He didn't just take her money. He took her life. Her eyes landed on his desk, more specifically, his old phone. A cheap burner phone, the one he used before he switched to a newer model last year. She had forgotten all about it, but there it was, tucked in the corner of the desk drawer, abandoned. Her pulse spiked. For a moment she just stared at it. Then with trembling fingers she picked it up. It was still charged, still on, and still logged into his accounts. Evelyn's hands shook as she scrolled through the messages. She knew. God, she already knew. But nothing could have prepared her for what she was about to see. Liam and Vanessa. Months of messages. Months. Her vision blurred, rage bubbling beneath her skin as she read through the texts. She's so easy to manipulate. She actually thinks she needs the surgery. You're kidding. Nope. She trusts me completely. It's almost pathetic. So when's the payday? Soon. Doctor's in on it. Money will clear after the procedure. Then it's just you and me, baby. No more boring life. No more struggling. Just us. Evelyn felt sick. She pressed a hand to her mouth, her stomach twisting, bile rising in her throat. She kept scrolling, unable to stop. She actually cried in my arms last night, told me she was scared, almost felt bad for a second. Oh, poor thing. She'll be fine. She still has one kidney. Yeah, but I'm not sticking around to watch her figure it out. You better not. Your flight's booked, first class, just like we planned. See you soon, babe. Can't wait to put this all behind me. I told you, I only date winners. And I told you I don't lose. Evelyn threw the phone across the room. It shattered against the wall, pieces scattering across the floor. Her chest heaved, rage burning her insides like wildfire. This wasn't just betrayal. It was calculated cruelty. He had never loved her. It had all been a lie. Tears blurred her vision. They weren't just from heartbreak. They were from rage. Pure, unfiltered, blinding rage. He thought she would just fade away, broken and humiliated. He thought she would disappear. But he was wrong. Because Evelyn wasn't going to be his victim. No, she grabbed her phone, her real one. Her fingers moved fast, her pulse hammering in her ears. She didn't call the police. Not yet. She didn't call a lawyer. Not yet. Instead, she opened Instagram. Vanessa Sinclair. Her profile was public. Evelyn's blood boiled as she scrolled through the recent posts. There they were, drinking champagne in a VIP lounge, smiling in front of a luxury hotel. Vanessa posing in a first-class airplane seat captioned, "Starting our new life." Her grief was gone. Her heartbreak was gone. All that was left was vengeance. The station smelled like burnt coffee and paper, the air stale with bureaucracy. A bored-looking officer, Detective Harris, sat across from her, jotting things down with a pen that barely scratched the surface of what had happened to her. "So, let me get this straight," he said, flipping through the report. "Your husband, well, ex-husband now, I assume." Evelyn clenched her jaw. "We're still legally married." Harris nodded like that was a minor inconvenience. "Right. So your husband convinced you to get surgery under false pretenses, stole your kidney, drained your bank account, and ran off with another woman?" She inhaled sharply, her hands curling into fists in her lap. "Yes," he sighed, tapping his pen against the table. "Look, ma'am, I won't lie to you. This is bad. But fraud cases like this, they take time. We'd need to go through financial records, hospital authorization forms, surveillance footage. It could be months before—" "Months," Evelyn snapped, leaning forward. "He's on his way to another country right now. He could disappear forever. And you're telling me to wait?" Harris held up his hands. "I get it. You're angry." Evelyn let out a sharp laugh, shaking her head. "Angry? Detective, the man I loved, the man I married, just cut me open like a business deal and left me to rot. He took my money, my trust, a part of my body, and you're sitting here telling me to wait?" Harris sighed again, rubbing his temples. "Ma'am, I need you to understand." "No," she cut in, her voice dangerously calm. "I need you to understand. If you don't stop him now, you won't have a case to solve, because he'll be gone." Harris glanced at the report again, his lips pressing into a thin line. "We'll issue a warrant, but without knowing exactly where he is." Evelyn took a breath, her mind racing. She needed proof. She needed to know where Liam was going. She stood abruptly, snatching her purse. "Thank you for your time, Detective." Harris frowned. "Where are you going?" "To do your job for you." And with that, she walked out. Evelyn wasn't stupid. Liam had planned this for months. He had wiped every trace of himself from their life together, covering his tracks with the precision of a man who had done this before. But he had made one mistake. Vanessa Sinclair loved attention. Her social media was practically a damn documentary of her life, and Evelyn was about to use it against her. She pulled out her phone, clicking on Vanessa's Instagram. The account was public. Of course it was. Women like Vanessa wanted the world to watch. Her most recent post was a photo from a first-class airplane seat. Beneath the caption, a location tag, Dubai International Airport. She zoomed in on the reflection in Vanessa's champagne glass. A blurred figure sat across from her, wearing a hoodie, head down, but Evelyn would recognize him anywhere. Liam. Her fingers tightened around the phone. Dubai. They were going to Dubai. Her hands shook as she scrolled deeper. Vanessa had been posting about Dubai for weeks. "Business opportunities in the UAE might be my next move. Time to level up. No more broke losers, only real men with ambition." Evelyn gritted her teeth. So that was it. Liam had sold her out for this woman, this life. He was about to walk into a new existence, debt-free, rich off the sale of her kidney, while she was left with nothing. She opened Google, searched flights to Dubai, and then she booked one. Because if the police wouldn't act fast enough, she would. The world loved a scandal, especially when it involved money, betrayal, and beautiful people falling from grace. And Evelyn was about to give them exactly that. Evelyn sat in a dimly lit hotel room, the glow of her laptop screen illuminating her face like a phantom. The city outside was alive, a restless hum of traffic and neon lights, but she barely noticed. Her focus was on the files spread out before her. Screenshots, bank transactions, flight records, months of messages between Liam and Vanessa, every lie, every manipulation, every disgusting joke at her expense. This wasn't just evidence, this was fuel, and Evelyn was about to burn Liam Carter's entire world to the ground. She took a breath, steadying herself. Then, with precise, calculated movements, she uploaded everything. A Google Drive link containing every single piece of damning proof. An anonymous email sent to journalists, bloggers, and influencers. A new Instagram account created solely for one reason: to expose the truth. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard for only a second. Then she typed, "This man stole my kidney, my money, and my life. Here's the proof." She hit post. At first, nothing happened. Evelyn sat there staring at the screen, her heart hammering at her chest. Then, wait, is this real? No way. Someone actually stole their wife's kidney? This is straight out of a horror movie. CNN, BBC, BuzzFeed, you need to cover this. Within minutes, the post exploded. Thousands of shares, hundreds of comments, and then Vanessa Sinclair's name got dragged into it. Isn't this the same Vanessa who was bragging about a rich man flying her to Dubai? So she knew? She was in on it? Vanessa girl, you better explain fast. Vanessa's Instagram, once a shrine to luxury and perfection, turned into a battlefield. Her followers demanded answers. Her sponsors started backing away. And Vanessa panicked. Evelyn refreshed her screen, watching as Vanessa Sinclair went live. A perfectly curated face stared into the camera, lips pressed into a trembling line, mascara slightly smudged, not enough to ruin her beauty, just enough to make her look like a victim. "I had no idea what Liam was planning," she gasped, voice shaking. "I would never be part of something so horrible." Evelyn scoffed. "I only found out after the surgery," Vanessa continued, fake tears glistening in her eyes. "And when I realized what he'd done, I was horrified." Lie. "Liam told me he was going to pay for our trip with an investment deal, not by hurting someone. I feel so betrayed." Lie. "Please don't send me hate. I had nothing to do with this." Lie. But Evelyn didn't care, because Vanessa had just done exactly what she needed her to do. She had turned on Liam, and now Liam was alone. Detective Harris called that evening, his voice tight. "You made my job a hell of a lot easier," he admitted. "Interpol just issued a red notice. Liam Carter is officially wanted for medical fraud, grand larceny, and illegal organ trafficking." Evelyn gripped the phone tighter. "Good," Harris sighed. "He won't get far. We have airport surveillance. If he tries to board another flight, he's done." Evelyn exhaled, her hands trembling. This was it. Liam was about to lose. Evelyn was still sitting in the hotel room staring at her screen when she saw the first tweet. "Breaking. Liam Carter has been arrested at Dubai International Airport." Her breath caught. Her hands trembled as she clicked on the link. Live footage. Airport security, a sea of travelers, and then him, Liam Carter, standing in line at a private jet terminal, wearing a hoodie and sunglasses, his body tense, like he knew something was wrong. And then, the moment his name was flagged, security guards swarmed. Liam turned, confusion morphing into horror. He tried to run, tried to push past them, but it was over. The last image was Liam pinned to the ground, wrists twisted behind his back, his mouth open in a desperate, silent scream. Evelyn let out a shaky breath, her heart hammering. It was done. Liam was caught, and the entire world saw it happen. For the first time since waking up in that hospital bed, she felt like she could breathe again. But it wasn't over, because Liam still had to face her. And she wasn't finished with him. The interrogation room was freezing, sterile, small, the kind of place where people were stripped of their power, their delusions of control reduced to nothing but cold metal chairs and fluorescent lighting. Evelyn sat across from the man who had once been her world, Liam Carter, the man who had whispered, "I love you," into her skin, the man who had stolen her money, her trust, her kidney, and thought he would get away with it. But now he was nothing. His hands were cuffed to the table, his once pristine appearance a shadow of what it had been. The designer hoodie, wrinkled and stained. His jaw, unshaven, bruised from his struggle at the airport. His hair, disheveled, no longer effortlessly tousled, but messy in the way that spoke of fear. And his eyes were no longer sharp, calculating. They were hollow. Evelyn leaned back in her chair, exhaling slowly, letting the silence do the work. Liam was the first to break. "Evie," he started, voice low, softer than it had any right to be. "You came." She raised an eyebrow. "Did I?" A flicker of something crossed his face. He swallowed hard, his cuffed hands clenching into fists. "You have to believe me," he said, his voice hoarse. "I never wanted to hurt you." Evelyn tilted her head, watching him like a scientist examining a failed experiment. "Oh?" she said, voice smooth. "Is that what you told Vanessa? Before or after you joked about how easy I was to manipulate?" Liam flinched. A second, barely a breath, but she caught it, and for the first time she smiled, because he was unraveling. "You don't understand," he said quickly, desperately. "I was desperate, Evie. I had no choice. I needed a way out, and I was just the easiest way to get it," she finished for him, her voice mockingly sweet. Liam exhaled sharply, his eyes flickering to the two-way mirror. "You don't get it. These charges, they can't stick. Not all of them. I have lawyers." "You have nothing," Evelyn cut in, her voice turning to steel. Liam froze. She leaned forward, placing her elbows on the table, her expression unreadable. "Your money? Gone. Your name? Ruined. Your so-called connections? They're ghosting you." She let the words sink into him. "You have nothing, Liam," she whispered, just loud enough for him to feel the full weight of it. Liam's breathing grew uneven. His fingers flexed, his body tensed like a trapped animal. For a second, just a second, Evelyn saw it. The panic, the realization that he wasn't getting out of this, that he was truly, completely alone. And then, just like that, the mask came back. Liam inhaled deeply, his jaw tightening. "You still love me," he said, his voice taking on that same familiar softness. "That's why you're here." Evelyn blinked. Then, she laughed. Not a fake, controlled laugh. A real one. Sharp, disbelieving. And when she looked at him again, she could barely contain her amusement. "Oh my God," she breathed, shaking her head. Even now you still think you have power over me?" Evelyn leaned in, just close enough that he could hear her heartbeat if he listened, and then she whispered low and final, "I'd rather die than ever trust you again." Liam's face crumbled. The words hit harder than any slap. His shoulders curled inward. And Evelyn? Evelyn stood, smooth, unshaken, unbreakable. She looked down at him. "You know what's funny, Liam?" she mused. "You always talked about being a winner, about never losing." She gave him a mocking, pitying smile. "Turns out the only thing you ever won was a first-class ticket to prison." Then she turned on her heel, walking to the door. Liam's breath hitched. "Evie, wait!" She didn't. She didn't even look back, because Liam Carter was nothing to her now, and she was finally free. Liam was sentenced to 25 years. Dr. Carson was arrested too, and their entire operation was exposed. Vanessa? She slithered away with her fake tears and shallow apologies, but her reputation was permanently stained. And Evelyn? Evelyn survived. She didn't just survive. She thrived. She took what was left of her life and rebuilt it. She traveled. She wrote. She lived. And one evening, as she stood on the shores of a place she and Liam once dreamed of visiting, she took off the necklace he had given her, the last thing she had of him, and threw it into the ocean. The waves swallowed it whole. And as the sun set, casting golden light across the water, Evelyn smiled, because Liam had stolen a piece of her, but he had never